Hello everyone, mindless Autumn back, and today we are talking about a monthly log in a bullet journal. If you look at the original layout for a monthly log, it pretty much looks like this, with the days of the month going down and then the days of the week alongside it. On the other page, you have the tasks that you have to complete for the month. And if you read the bullet journal method by Ryder Carroll, he also started doing a little bit of a habit tracker on his monthly log. So he just writes a letter to indicate what habit he's tracking. So in this case, as an example, I did meditation, exercise, and water. And the idea is that it would just indicate every day if you had completed that habit for the day. And the way that he does it, he will write down events or appointments that are upcoming for this month. And he also uses it as kind of a memory keeping log, which is why it's called a monthly log. So you would put appointments or birthdays or any kind of events ahead of time, but most of this would remain blank. You would go back here and write something that happened as a reminder of what that day was. And the tasks could be anything like chores you have to do or projects for work or school. And anytime you have some that you don't complete, you would just carry them over, also called migrating, to the next month. One of the benefits of bullet journaling is that you don't have to do everything exactly like this. You can set it up to meet whatever your needs are at the time. So sometimes this might work great for you. Other times you might be more busy or have more things to keep track of. And so you could set this up differently depending on what you need for that particular month. So I have set up a couple different examples to give you ideas. This is almost the same. You can see it has the days and the tasks just like the original version. The habits are not on here, but you could always add them if you wanted to, or you could put them on a separate spread. This is the layout that I used for quite a while. Because my work schedule is not predictable or consistent, I have this side where I would put what time I have to work, and then this side would be more like the traditional monthly log where I would put events like birthdays or appointments, and then you could use this as a memory log for whatever was left blank, or you could just use it more like a calendar. And then the tasks remain the same as on the original. You could also do more than one page if you have a lot going on. In this example, I would put my schedule or appointments, my spouse's schedule or appointments. And I only have one kid, but I did this as an example to show you could put one for each person in your you could put one section for each person in your family. You could make this a little bit smaller or bigger if you have more or less people to keep track of. And then you have a schedule for each person. You could also do this for classes. If you're in school, you could have a section for each class so you know what time and day you need to be in certain classes. If you have more than one job, you could do one for each job and keep it organized that way. And having the dates down the center just makes it easier to be able to see from both sides. You could just put it all on the side like in the original layout here, but then when you have it broken up into categories, it's not quite as easy to see what line you're supposed to use when you're planning ahead. So I like having it down the middle for that. Also, I like to have a line after each Sunday just so I can have a visual telling me where each week breaks down. And then the one that I've been using most recently is more like a traditional calendar, and I do 6 boxes across and 6 boxes up and down, just for anyone who wanted to recreate this. And it does take a little bit more time, but I am more of a visual person, so I find that even having the lines here is not quite as easy for me to wrap my head around as being able to look at it here. So I usually actually do both. I draw the calendar out like this, and then I'll do the dates up and down. So that way I have room for my work schedule here, and then any appointments or events here. And it's easy for me to see visually what I'm doing. If this is enough room for you and you don't need to put the dates here for extra room, you could also use this space for tasks that you have to do for the month, or this space down here for tasks, instead of having a whole nother page like this. Besides using your monthly log as a calendar where you put all your appointments and a memory keeper, you can also use it to set up a chore schedule or a self-care schedule or anything else that you need to remind yourself to do on a monthly basis. For example, my recycling goes out every other week, alternating with yard debris, and I don't always remember which week is which, so I can write that on the calendar to remind myself which one goes out when. You could also use this to plan your exercise routine, so you know which day you're lifting weights or doing cardio, or what days you need to weigh in or track your measurements or anything like that. I'm sure there are other ways you can do a monthly layout. These are just the ways that I have tried and have worked for me. If you have a different way of doing it, then I would love to see that in the comments below. So please share that so we can all learn from each other as always. And next week, we will be talking about the weekly log, which actually was not in the original bullet journal, because the way Ryder Carroll does it, he goes straight from his monthly log into a daily log. But for a lot of people, using a weekly log in between the two actually helps quite a bit. So I will show you a few different ways that I have done that. And I know one of the things that people are intimidated about is thinking that bullet journaling has to take a lot of time. And it can if you draw out boxes or do a lot of artwork or creative stuff, but it doesn't have to. You could just do something like this, which takes less than 5 minutes, but really does help to organize everything and make you a lot more productive. So next week I will show you a few different ways to do a weekly log, and they also are not real time consuming, but can help break things down into smaller chunks so that you don't have a giant intimidating list of things to do for the whole month, and you can actually get them done. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, then make sure you are subscribed and you've hit that notification bell so that you will see when that comes out. And I will see you next week. Bye guys!